And to continue my museum tour, the wife and I are at the Chicago Museum of Industry and Science. And by far the most exciting thing here is this, which is the U-505 submarine that was captured on June 4th, 1944. And the tactic of capturing this was something called wearing a submarine out. They have an infinite amount of air and power on board, and they circled it, kept it underwater, and depth charged it until it ran out of both, and the crew jumped out, popped to the surface, pulled the drain plug, and jumped out to abandon it and sink it. And the Navy personnel of a 100-killer task force jumped on board, put the plug back in it, and saved it the last possible second. And this submarine was kept under wraps. The crew, they didn't talk to the Red Cross. They had to keep them under wraps because they didn't want the Germans knowing they had captured it. So they kept quiet about it. In the war, the submarine then went into a Navy yard somewhere and slowly got stripped. And 1954 was given to the museum here in Chicago, and the curator of the museum contacted the manufacturer and said, hey, we want to make a museum out of this. Do you have any spare parts left over since this has been stripped? And the manufacturer contacted them back, and the response was, we're not really happy about you having that, but since you do have it, we're going to make it a monument to German engineering. Said, what do you need? And they walked through the sub and took pictures and sent it to the manufacturer there in Germany, and they sent over shipping containers and blueprints, shipping containers full of all the little valves and gauges and knickknacks, and they were able to completely reassemble this, making this the most complete World War II U-boat anywhere in the world, and is used as a model for every movie they've ever made. And if you notice, this one even has bullet holes in it, and we will be doing a tour of it here in about an hour. And from what I understand, you go from room to room and you push a button and it actually talks to you. So I'm not going to do as much babbling as I do normally on these videos, but there will be two parts to this tour. And I was here in 1981, which was 41 years ago, and this was outdoors. And they have upgraded the display wildly and restored it and brought it inside, which was a really good idea because apparently the weather was getting to it. But that literally has shell holes in the side of it. Wow. It was the anti-aircraft guns. So the wife and I will be walking through this, supposedly a guided tour. Don't know what we're up against, but I will let you know if you happen to be in this area. I highly recommend the Chicago Museum of Science and Industry. It is a very impressive museum, and it is huge. So this is Expediting with Lucy with Museum Tour, U-505, Part 1.